Yeah.
With like it'll be
just whispering and shit.
faces, kind of. It's like like it gets all.
So my move was
crazy.
run like a bitch and hide in the bathroom and cower.
Yeah.
So like naturally. Welcome, Nerd Chatter, a bi-weekly podcast where we discuss stories throughout the week from the film, gaming, and tech industries. Get the boys with me, Lucas and Kenny. What up?
What it do?
Yo, a metric fuck ton of news today from Apple
Jesus.
products and publisher shows and all that kind of stuff. So I'm buckling for a slightly long show this week. But before we get into that, if you could hit that subscribe and like button, it'd be much appreciated. Whatever platform you are on. What do we got this week, boys? What is this?
A lot of tech stuff.
Just a
So
little bit of news.
what don't we have?
Yeah, apparently, like, the world was just like, you know, it was like the calm before the storm last, like, few weeks, where it was just like, yeah, we're not going to give you shit.
We have nothing for you. We're just going to
make
sit
you
here
guys
and talk.
Babble for fucking an hour about, like, nothing and shit. And then this week, it's like, okay, so you're going to have to try to squeeze all this shit in one show. So we went a little light on, like, your basic news. We got some miscellaneous news towards the end that, you know, Twitch news and, you know, Rick and Morty news, the Reddit bullshit and Twitch fuckery and all that. So some stuff to talk about, but really we had, what do we have? We had WWDC 23.
Yep.
That's the, what is it? The Worldwide Developers Conference? What is it?
Something like that.
Apple's developer conference, which typically shows off like iOS features and things like that. It's not the typical like product show. They do have certain products. I think this is where they do show off certain things like laptops and stuff like that, but like phones and all that stuff is in the other show, right?
Yeah.
The other time of the year. So even though, you know, that is the case, we still got some juicy shit. Pretty cool piece of technology I'm sure everybody's aware of by now, but we'll get in that here in just a second. Then we got the Summer Game Fest, which was like, holy shit, there's just so much there. And then the Xbox Game Showcase and Starfield Direct finally.
Yeah.
Talking about that for like months, like when is that coming, yada yada. And
Yeah,
finally,
every developer decided was like,
Yeah.
oh, we're just going to do our own showcases.
This week's a good week. Let's all just choose this week. You know, some shows just right after one another, next day. I mean, we got some stuff with the Starfield and then Ubisoft right after. That was just like, oh my god, so mic drop shit. So we do have the Ubisoft Forward 2023, and there was other shows, other developers that we're not going to get into. I think, Lucas, you showed me one that was like, I've never even heard of that developer, and they got their own show.
I was like, look at this one.
I was like, I have no idea who the fuck that is.
Oh, look at this one. This one's crazy.
Nice
this
mobile
one's actually
games, bro.
dubbed in, I think it was like Japanese. I think I was watching one.
I mean, it might be like Chinese developers or Japanese developers or whatever. I think there's a Chinese developer bopping around I heard about. I'm not sure. But I guess we could start off with WWDC 23. WWF 23.
NWO. New World Order. Well, that's what Apple basically is.
Yeah,
World Order, baby.
basically. I mean, at least they protect your shit for the most part. They encrypt your info. So, I mean, I guess I'll let the Mac boy take it from here and shit. What do we got here?
Hey, that's me,
here?
right?
What do we got here, Mac boy?
Yeah, for all you guys talking shit the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
So as we go, oh, I know. I was actually trying to download games earlier, and you guys were talking shit.
Trying.
Trying to.
Trying.
I got Team Fortress 2, though. in a pro pack.
Damn.
What?
You'd be fucking hard as fuck like 10 years ago and shit. All right, what we got here? We got
So the biggest thing is the Apple Vision that Apple showcased. I think they took like 45 minutes on this. Basically, you want to wear a computer on your head? Here you go. We got you. Black Mirror? Anything?
I mean, it's not that crazy. It's not that crazy.
Basically, it's like a computer on your face, and you're able. And what was it like? Apple did not use VR at all in their presentation. So basically, it is VR, but they're like, no, this isn't VR. It's not AR.
Kinda.
This is
what's
our
it called?
thing.
It's mixed reality headset. Is
Yeah,
what they're referring to it as.
it's like you still have your reality, but at the same time, we can take you away and put you into another, area or environment is what they called it.
It is a pretty, I mean, because there is some time in there where it's like, okay, it pulls up like the TV screen and then like the room dims and all this shit. Like, you could see that there's some type of VR going on. So I'm sure there is absolutely
VR.
VR, yeah. But there's also AR, and AR augmented reality is much like fuck Pokemon Go and shit. You want to catch Charmander on your kitchen table and shit. It's
Right.
just, it's taking your environment and then superimposing whatever it is into that environment. That's the practical one. That's the one that Microsoft's been fucking around with for like 10, 15 years. This technology where you're interacting with your environment, but you also have this kind of like over the overlay, the HUD of this computing shit.
I mean, that's basically what it is. But Apple has to be Apple and be its like proprietary. We don't name things what other people name things.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
this is a different type of. This isn't in league with pretty much anything else. There's a couple. I mean, like the Oculus or whatever the fuck they call it now.
Meta, I think it was.
Meta's
No.
headset. I think it's not called Oculus anymore. I forget what it's fucking called because I don't give a shit. The Quest.
Mm.
It's
The one that's
kind
like a
of
third of the price.
yeah, but it's also fucking hooked up to Meta, and they like take all your data and map your house and shit and all this crazy shit. With the Apple Vision though, it does have its Vision OS, right? It has its own operating system, which from what I hear, and I forget who it was, they were doing a recap of what they experienced, and the eye tracking is what is like insane about this. And this is the type of technology. It's like once it gets established, it'll squeak its way into bike helmets, motorcycle helmets, and shit.
Oh, for sure.
Fighter jet, pilots and all that shit. This is like legit. Okay, we're taking a step into fucking future shit. Where
Iron Man shit. Bro.
yeah, Iron Man, fucking Jarvis on our heads and shit. And
Yeah.
to be honest,
They call him Siri.
it looks bulky, right? It's made out of metal.
It's made out of metal. It's made out of glass.
Yeah,
It's
got
two
glass on it.
screens.
Yeah.
You got a screen on the inside for that's two individual screens on the inside that are 4K. You got the screen on the outside that shows your,
Your eyes.
eyes, which
Completely
is fucking
pointless.
creepy, dude.
It's creepy, and it, what it like makes you scan your face, so it makes like a 3D model of your face.
For
which
I
is-
wonder how
FaceTime.
hot this shit is gonna get like
Uh,
on your head.
he said that because the battery is connected to a cord that goes in like your pocket or whatever,
Yeah.
it doesn't get as hot as
And the
others.
material that surrounds the face part is actually like
It's very much like
comfortable.
a high end like hiking backpack shoulder straps. That breathable.
it's moisture wicking, bro.
Yeah, it's like it sucks up all that juice and shit,
All
that
that-
nerd
all that-
juice.
All that nerd sweat.
Yeah. So it's got that really like, ooh, like I just want to touch that type of material. It's like, damn, that shit looks expensive. So I mean, in line with what they offer, like the quality definitely looks sick. Not the eyes on the outside, but like that little, they had like this dim blue light kind of transition that was going
Yeah,
on.
so
That looks
what that
sick.
does is that shows, okay, so when your eyes are being shown, that means you're engaging with the person that's in the room with you that you're talking to, but at the same time you're still able to like kind of do something while you're talking to
Yeah.
them, right? Then when you're fully immersed into a program, watching a movie, doing an app, working, the eyes get covered with that blue hue.
Mm-hmm.
And then when somebody actually walks in, so when they come into your vision, it'll
Light
go back to your eyes.
I mean, all that type of technology is sick.
Right.
Like, that's
I mean,
not-
it's got like 6 cameras or 4 cameras on the outside that takes
Yeah.
everything.
And then
the
it's got,
amount of like
5
30
for your eyes or
sensors.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, it's dope technology. Is it useful for me? No.
No.
This is what I argued with you the other day. And I was like, this serves me no purpose, especially at the price point of $3,500.
$500.
Their fucking MacBook Pro is $3,500 on their website right now.
Yeah, but you
bro.
get
Like,
more application out of a MacBook Pro than you do.
kinda
a
like
goddamn
that's the thing,
headset.
is that this does have its own operating system, and it does require these developers to adhere to those requirements to like develop for them. But really, it's not a far stretch from how an iOS operating system would function. It's just it needs to accommodate your eye tracking and the way that you pinch to do this and hand swipe to do that and yada yada.
The fact that it knows where your hands are at. Your hands don't have to be in a certain position.
Yeah, you could just like
your
have them
hands could be on your lap.
Sick.
And just like you just do the little pinch.
Like,
That's dope.
I mean, if I had all, you get any Mac, laptop, it's like, well, I got a computer and I got my iPhone if I'm gonna spend $3,500 on like the crazy, MacBook Pro, I could probably get just equal use out of that fucking headset. Like I'll do that. You know what I mean? Like I could see that. Not to mention the people that are buying this type of shit aren't the people who are pinching pennies, bro. Like if you're buying $3,500 Apple products, you ain't giving a fuck about $3,500.
That is penny
That's
pinching.
poor man argument, bro. Don't be a peasant. So like it's like the price is like whatever. It if anything, it's exactly where I expect it to. And I think at one point I predicted it long ago where it's like if this thing comes out, it's going to be like $3,500, $4,000. So I mean, of course, and it's, to be honest, quality fucking looks like it's worth $3,500.
It really does.
It does.
It really does.
Like it looks like you're fucking Back to the Future shit. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's insane. So, I don't think there's. Yeah, of course, there's not going to be any practicality for like gamers. Maybe like in a novel sense, for
The way I
entertainment
see it
purposes,
is,
it's like you might get something out of it, but if you
Editing.
want to sit there and you don't, yeah, exactly. If you don't want to buy fucking 5 monitors,
Yeah.
you
You can chill on your couch,
yeah.
open up a 100-inch screen in front of you, and you can just pinch, clips and
Now,
move things. That's sick.
Imagine you get so proficient with that, and you get that is your minimum requirement. Like that's your maximum requirement. You don't need anything else, and you don't need a computer in your house anymore. Like this is your computer. There are no more monitors laying around. There's no desk space being soaked up by a computer tower and your keyboard and your mouse pad, yada yada. If a person can suffice from just using this device, like it literally just removes computers from the household. You know what I mean?
Oh, definitely.
So
Yeah.
I mean, it's some monumental shit. HTC Vive, when it came out, was like, oh, okay, this thing is crazy. It's tracking your environment, it's tracking where you're at in the room, and where your hands are, and pinching, grabbing, twisting, yada yada. But that's kind of grown, is just a standard now. That's just how VR is. This is like you said, like the pinching and where your hands are placed and all this, how it tracks your eyes and what you're looking at, how it dims things around what you're looking at, because that's just what your vision does to begin with, which
Yeah.
cuts down on processing power, Kenny, which reduces the load, and keeps that heat down.
So it doesn't get hot.
Yeah, I mean, these are big brain moves in terms of how things work. It's not just being like, oh, I want a VR headset that can track your hands and shit. That's what they did. Like Apple has just come in being like, okay, so now we want we want it to be like Minority Report shit. You know what I mean? Like that's
yeah.
what they're going for. So kind of fucking sick. Make do with with what you got now. We'll see how it pans out 2 or 3 years into its cycle. Like Google just recently discontinued their Google Glass, which holy fuck, didn't even know that was still around. So I don't know. Maybe, I mean, anybody on an airplane wearing one of these is gonna look like a fucking doofus anyway. So who gives a shit?
Yeah.
What's on here next? What else?
A rich doofus.
Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know, you kind of flaunt it by that point and shit. It's
Be like, oh, I don't even fucking care. I'll just turn off my eyes. I don't even see you. That's how much I don't care about what you think about what I'm wearing.
just said it's where it's like the eyes meet eyes, so it's like they always meet. Like anybody that looks at you, you just retain eye contact the entire time. It like creeps them the fuck out.
I'm just waiting for it when it glitches, like your eyes are all like tweaking out, and
It's
everybody's
like
like,
turn
you all
upside
right?
Cross-eyed and shit.
You just
Someone's jailbreaking that shit, and it's gonna be funny. Next in the they released on the equipment side was the MacBook Air, the 15.3 inch, super thin, comes in at 11.5 millimeters with only just 3 pounds of weight. MagSafe, Thunderbolts, and the old good to go headphone jack.
oh, the aux,
Yeah,
really?
6 speakers,
Wow.
which is crazy. Yeah, I mean, Apple going away from all the headphone jacks and forcing you to basically wear Bluetooth headphones.
I think when you open the motherfucker up, there's a big ass empty spot inside the iPhone that like
was the headphone
totally
jack?
fine to put an auxiliary port.
No,
there.
no,
What
no,
the
no.
fuck?
We couldn't fit that. No.
They're literally a penny and a
Now you
half
gotta
each.
cut costs.
Get out of here. It cuts weight because it's already heavy enough.
They're like bet you it weighs like nothing. It's like it feels like nothing in your hand.
Dude, Dude, my iPhone Pro is pretty heavy, and I don't need any more weight for my headphone jack.
I mean, it's because it's bigger than your fucking hand, bro. Like,
Ah,
don't
dude,
need
you
that
fucking
big.
peasant, you and your wired headphones.
I mean,
Get outta here.
I have the, I have the big screen iPhone and shit, and it's a pain in the ass, bro.
It really is. I
hate
really
having to fucking
regret.
contort my wrist just to like click with one hand. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
carrying a baby and shit, and it's like, bro,
So
I need to be able to
and
click
your
the
baby
corners.
hands.
and then you got to go
I
to.
got some
Well, I'm
big fucking
sorry, dude.
hands.
We don't have gigantic mitts for hands, bro.
I guess they're not that big. I wear large and golf gloves and shit. That's not too big.
Kenny's like, I got
Kenny-
to special size my golf clubs.
Kenny has to wrap his hands in fucking duct tape because they don't make gloves big enough for his ass.
It's just rock tape just the entire
Yeah,
time. So that comes with that. They also comes in at a price of $12.99 for this one.
damn.
Pay for what you get, man.
It's fucking air though. It's an air, bro.
It's probably like at
It's
this
like a
point
bag
now,
of potato chips.
an Air is probably the same specs as an old MacBook.
I mean, the thing is that they
Pro.
were kind of always the same
MacBook
as like MacBook Pros. Like, I forget what it was like last year or whatever. The MacBook Air was almost
It was up there.
near identical version of the MacBook Pro, just with less storage, less this and that, less ports and yada yada. That's still a lot. Fuck.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
what they
could do
get
some
you is the
work with
ports.
MacBook Air though. I mean, you could do some work with it.
I have
If
a
you don't want to
MacBook Air.
spend $2-3 grand for a Pro, then yeah, it'll get it done.
It's come around though, because I have like the first MacBook Air, and that thing is just basically an iPad with a keyboard, just duct taped together.
I think that M2 chip's fucking sexy though.
I
The
just
thing is
bought
powerful.
like this M1, and then like a
That's-
week later the
That's
M2
how it
came
is.
out.
That's
I was
fucking
so pissed.
literally how it is,
Always
bro.
is.
I'm like, I'm gonna wait until later to make sure, and then you wait and you buy it, and then a fucking week later a new one comes out because you waited.
Exactly, and then it was already at the point where I can't return it.
Yeah, it's the perpetual
upgrade
loop
it.
of,
I was like,
of
God damn
being,
it.
of being that guy, being like, nah, I'll wait.
You know what? I was telling my wife last night. I was like, "Is it this point where I can just get Apple to where I could take it in and pay, $500, $600, and just swap out a board?" Yeah, I'm just
They're
like,
not
you know what?
motherboards. Logic boards are insane expensive. Like what the
And the
fuck?
shitty thing is, like, you can't even upgrade like RAM on these things.
Yeah, I mean, kinda. Yeah, no, I can't.
Not anymore. Not anymore. The old MacBook, the old Mac computers, the desktops, you were able to do it, and then now they're like, you have to take it in or just buy a whole new computer.
Well, I mean, the government ruled on the whole right to repair shit, so you can take it into third-party shops now legally. They can repair them, and Apple has to supply them with the equipment necessary to do actual repairs. So you're getting some leeway. There's some shit's been happening, but the MacBook Air, I mean, all in all, it's like, yeah, it's a cheaper option. It's a lot more reasonable in terms of pricing when you look at it. What a fucking M2 processor. It's like, I think you're gonna be fine with that.
Exactly. You're gonna be fine for a while.
Yeah, like as long as
Yeah.
you don't need like the extra horsepower, like with
If you're not doing a full feature
Processing,
film length
yeah, exactly.
movie editing, then
Editing, shit like that.
you're not doing a Star Wars movie.
Insane,
Yeah, be
heavy
totally fine.
rendering and shit.
Yeah, if you're not like doing CGI and trying to create a game, I think you'll be good.
Yeah,
You'll be able to type a paper, like no problem. Yeah, so you have the Mac Mini, and then they introduced the Mac Studio. I think it was like 2 years ago or a year ago, and that's where it came in with the M1. Then they upgraded to the M2, and it was like a little bit double the price from the Mac Mini to the Studio, and now they have the Mac Studio increasing even more performance with M2 Max,
Max
which is
Ultra.
25%
Yeah,
faster than the M1. It's 50% faster for rendering, and then 4 times faster than the Intel-based Mac.
undeniably a strong suit for Mac in particular is how it does that, like editing, music making, shit like that, like actual like professional level stuff. That's where it really shines.
Yeah.
A PC, you can obviously get it done, and like anybody's gonna argue like, oh, it's like, yeah, but there's a certain level of
think it's just
comfort
the
knowing that everything is going to work, everything is going to come out great. It's the flow of how everything, like, you produce it, everything's nice and simple, and it's just the whole ecosystem of that. So
I almost got the Studio when I was shopping around for the new computer, but I was like, do I really need this? Like, I'm not editing videos, I'm not doing, a bunch of crap.
Like people that need it don't even need that. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, it's
you
like
could
too
see-
much. I'm
it's
running on
overkill
the
for sure.
on the M1 Silicon One Mac Mini, and
Yeah, you're
it's
fine.
great.
Yeah, you're fine.
Now started streaming and all that. It handles fine.
Yeah.
It does well. And then Apple goes out and then introduces another chip, the M2 Ultra.
Mm.
So starting out, this one coming out on the lowest, specs will probably be around $19.99, which is
Not
super
bad.
cheap, to
Yeah,
be
it's not
honest.
bad. It's fucking good, actually.
Yeah. And then they go in and release the big boy, which is the Mac Pro. The Mac Pro Silicon with the M2 Ultra. Fully customizable. You can, from everything, you can build with 8 Thunderbolts.
Jeez.
I don't even have 8.
Future proofing.
Yeah, pretty much. Like this one, you basically don't need a computer for the rest of your life.
Yeah, I'm looking at these older ones. Oh God, hideous. Yeah, that's cheese grater right there. The one before that's the one that looks like the Dyson air purifier, and the one before that looks just like a gigantic tower. This thing is impressive. That's incredibly small. Super small. I'm looking at the studio. Damn.
Yeah, the Studio is smaller, body wise and size wise. It's smaller than the Mac Mini.
I mean, it legit is.
It's just higher.
They have it next to a Mac Mini, and it's. I mean, it's almost the identical same design. It's just taller. Yeah, it's like
Yeah, it's just
2
taller.
times taller. Fuck. Damn, kind of want. Anyways.
Yeah, I know. I was like, dude.
Anyways.
But then I was like, no, I don't need it. I don't need it.
You don't
And
need
I walked away and I just got the cheaper one.
Insert SpongeBob meme.
2 minutes later.
Water.
And then they got it was the iOS, the OS, the yada yada, Mac OS X or whatever.
Yeah, just the little updates to iOS 17.
One of 500 fucking updates you gotta run every
Seriously, and then like a week later, you'll have iOS 17.12.
Yeah.
Crap. Just basically little things where like they improved chat workflow, they improved, they made contact posters now, which is kind of annoying. You can name drop, so it's basically AirDrop, but you just share contacts. I didn't understand that. I was like, it's the same shit.
Yeah.
They have what is it, FaceTime voicemails now, and then you can actually like kind of what is it, like screen your calls. That's what it was. You could screen your calls by looking at the voicemail while it's being recorded on your
That's
screen.
weird.
Yeah, so like when
that's how voice recorders work anyways, like answering machines, you could hear people talking while they're recording.
so when you dismiss the phone call to voicemail, you'll see on your home screen the message being written out, and then you can actually still answer, I guess, which is kind of weird. So basically you're screening your calls.
Huh. That's weird.
Yeah.
I could see, proper use of that shit.
And then they actually introduced another thing, which was called check-in. So with check-in is that you let somebody know that you're going to go home and you're going to get home safely or something like that. You're going out for a run. So people can like track you, like your loved one can track you. And if you have any unusual activity, like, how come you haven't been home? You said you were going to be home in 15 minutes. Where are you at? And then you get the question of who is she? I'll cut her.
I mean,
And
like,
so your phone's blowing up.
my chick uses that with her mom or sister or that type of thing, like, oh, they haven't left the house yet, yada, that type of thing. I don't do that 'cause fuck all that. My thing is third-party apps tracking your location is kind of like a recipe for disaster.
Oh, for sure.
This is that solution, right, where they're it's going to be under the Apple encryption umbrella,
Right.
which is pretty rock solid. And the reason why I stuck with Apple to begin with phones because they're just so secure. You know what I mean? So, pretty cool. I like that. I mean, yeah, as long as you can work inside that ecosystem and not have to worry about any type of data breaches, that's something where I would be willing, to do that. You know what I mean? It's where, I want to take the baby, we're going to go shopping, and, I stop at Target, and then, I go to Safeway or whatever after, and then she can look to see whether or not I've gone to Target yet. You know what I mean? It's like, oh,
Yeah.
well, fuck, oh, well.
You
see,
would
use
Target
of that.
without me?
Yeah, basically.
Sees you at the driving range.
So, I mean, and then aside from, creepers and shit, stranger
Yeah.
danger and all that, I get it. Yeah. So
It would be good for
that'll be a
kids,
feature.
like for at least, your kid has an iPhone, and a lot of kids, I guess, walk to school, and
Yeah.
you
We
can
have
see,
the,
at least as a parent, you can see that your kid made it to school.
We use the key fob deals, whatever. Apple
Oh, the
Pods
AirTags.
or AirTags.
Yeah, AirTags.
So, pretty helpful. That one though feeds off of other people's networks, so there has to be an iPhone nearby for it to ping. But I mean that's pretty common, so
Yeah.
it's very helpful in like amusement parks and shit like that.
I
But
lost
yeah,
my baby.
I mean that was pretty much it with the WWDC, right? It was pretty.
Yeah, that was pretty much it.
thin.
Just a couple of things of equipment. The Vision Pro was the biggest thing that they
Yeah.
took away from this,
Big
and then
drop.
iOS updates with like iPad updates and stuff. So
I mean those are pretty decent iOS updates, or just OS updates to begin with. So not bad, not bad. Next show, I'm sure is probably like in 6 months or whatever the fuck. I forget what it's called. It's been years since I was really into that. I mean, back when Steve Jobs was around, like I was all over that. You know, every
Yeah,
show
I would watch
was like
them.
up its ass. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So after that, it kind of felt like they were just trying to hold it together and not really being innovative. This one's fun though because the Apple Vision and all that good shit. And typically stuff that they introduce sticks around, right? So
yeah, well, then they did some stuff with the headphones too, like they updated like some headphone stuff.
oh yeah, like the
Yeah, you can they mixed what was it transparency and noise canceling to make adaptive controls. So basically, it learns your environment. So when it gets
fucking,
louder,
like fucking shooting headsets, like a gun range. They have
yes, basically.
it's like
So when
hit
somebody's
certain
gonna talk to
decibel,
you,
deafens
it goes
out and-
it goes to a transparency mode, and then when there's like a jackhammer going off, it goes
it'll
into like
dampen it,
yeah. So
sick shit. You know, they had those in-ear headphones, and you could talk normal volume with somebody, and then when somebody shoots, you know, it just cuts off that decibel, and you don't hear, you know, it in your ears. So I mean,
I mean the fact that it works that fast,
yeah.
crazy.
I mean, even if you get just a little bit, it's better than hearing like a fucking loud ass boom. You know.
Well, for sure.
I'm not sure if you've been to the gun range, but just because you have those earplugs in doesn't mean that you're not going to hear that shit. You know.
Yeah, especially indoors.
Yeah, especially indoors in the
yeah.
booths and shit. So, yeah, I mean that's kind of cool. I'm not super stoked about their headsets just because I don't use the phone very much in terms of like calls and all that. So, you
I
know,
love their headsets.
I mean, you probably have use of it. You know what I mean? But me, I hate using the fucking phone. I don't need to use microphone. You know what I mean?
Damn
Like,
piece of
whatever.
technology.
I don't like text me. It's 2023. Don't fucking call me. Text me. Don't even leave a fucking voicemail, bro. Like, what are you doing?
I'm calling you all the time now.
Listen
No.
to that shit. Yeah, that's how
Don't
it is.
even call me.
I'm never gonna text you. I'm just gonna call you from now on.
Like, well, I could screen them now and shit.
Every
Like,
phone call,
what's this bitch
everything
need to
I,
say and shit? Fuck's this
Now
what
we're
talking
gonna
about?
go- so we're gonna
Everything that I
discuss
wanna
the
say in
next
a text.
And
podcast.
then I read it. It's like boner. I'm like, man, this motherfucker. Yeah. So yeah, WWDC, you know, not too bad. Some juicy shit. We'll see what's up on the next show. Maybe a new iPhone, most likely. Probably a new iPad.
Yeah.
And whatever. We'll see. New
Don't need
Apple
it.
cutting board coming out in fucking 2025 and shit.
Apple cut.
it cuts for you.
Yeah, cuts for you and shit.
It shows you where to cut.
Next one on here was Summer Game Fest. This is I mean, it's not summer, but you know, whatever. It was Summer Game Fest, right? That's what it was.
E3 revisited.
I'm basically this is taking the cake. We're in abundance of games, and I'm gonna run down these. You know, not too much in terms of like news on things like Spider-Man 2 and that type of thing, but we did get a date for that. Now it is October 20th of this year, 2023.
Dope.
The previous show we talked about the gameplay, which looks pretty fucking sexy. Not gonna lie. Some of the low key bad graphics in certain areas. However, it's a must buy type of thing.
It's still a work in progress.
I think pre-orders opened up a few days ago. The $225 or $250 like super crazy edition with the Miles Morales, Peter Parker and Venom fight scene, which looks sexy as all fuck.
Yeah, do I need that?
I mean, kind of do. I mean, it depends on what you do with it. Because I mean, you know, if you're gonna keep it clean and keep it on a shelf and add to it, then hell yeah. They knew that they didn't have anything to show, and they kind of came out and they're like, yeah, we kept this under wraps at the previous show. It was Sony, right? The Sony show. But we have a release date, and it's October 20th. So, you know, just in time for parents to make their their Black Friday purchases and their Halloween sale purchases and all that shit, you know. A lot of discounted times around that time of year. So, I mean, obviously it's a pretty good one. This is a little bit later than what the voice actor for Venom had previously leaked. He said that
He said September, right?
said that it was going to be September that you start hearing more of a media push in August. But I mean, we got a media push in July, and it's coming out in October. So a little off. They might have did that intentionally, just to like fuck that dude, but whatever. But yeah, it's a must buy. I mean, if you like Spider-Man games, which me personally, I consider to be like top 3 games of all time. Everyone, not like just, it's like gameplay, you know what I mean? Just in terms of games, Spider-Man games, the natural gameplay for that character is to me like the best video game carryover that you can have. You know, it checks all the boxes. You can have a giant map and traverse incredibly fast, at the same time have really dope fighting and counter fighting like moves and shit like that. So it's a must buy for sure.
They doubled the size of the map in this one, yeah.
They added the other side of the bridge, yeah. So you get what,
Yeah.
Brooklyn and Queens.
Queens.
Queens makes sense. It's gonna be interesting how you kind of traverse around there. But they did add the wingsuit, so maybe there's some, some play with that. But kind of hard to
there's a lot of
swing when there's
people-
no buildings. It's just
I hope there's a lot of people in stoops. Where I'm
next
just like
one,
walk around.
well, we got Prince of Persia. You guys play Prince of Persia when you were young?
Man, back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole time slow down, third person. What do you guys think of it being converted to a 2D platformer type? I made kind of a meme on Twitter where I was like, like, what the fuck? What are you doing?
Going backwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
It reminds me of like all the old school like Lion King.
Yeah, Aladdin and shit.
games.
It's fucking Aladdin. God damn it. Bane of my fucking existence is that Aladdin game, dude. Oh my
Those
god.
games were so hard when we were
Yeah.
kids.
Aladdin, Toy Story. That's not something where it's just like, oh, like, everybody knows those are hard. It's like, no, those were the games that came out and we played as kids and we're expected to beat. Like, it's just not, that's not reasonable. Fuck crazy asshole. God damn it. Whoever the fuck made those games, Disney Interactive or whatever. Jesus. But yeah, Prince of Persia, The Last Crown, it's kind of converted to a 2D. I mean, it looks good, but it also looks cartoony.
Very cartoony.
Very modern, you
Yeah.
don't kind of get a sense of it being in the past. It's kind of whatever, I'm sure people will find some enjoyment out of it if they like that type of shit, but not me. MK1, Mortal Kombat 1, it's the new Mortal Kombat.
Sick.
Yeah, looks good.
I was going to say
Yeah.
entry, but it's actually just new Mortal Kombat. Previous game was Mortal Kombat 11, which you can get on pretty much any type of subscription service right now if you want to play it a little bit. But MK1 looking pretty damn sexy. We also just had Street Fighter 6 drop, a couple weeks ago, and Lucas having a fucking
God, dude, I swear to
joyous
God.
time with that shit.
I'm getting used to it.
Heavy
It's
punch,
growing on
heavy
me.
punch.
That game to me very much like Dragon Ball Z Xenoverse. I think that's what it's called. The illusion of a game. You know what I mean? Like the illusion of an environment. Like they really want you to feel like you're running around in a city with other people and like people are, it's like this real, but it's just an open area where you kind of just fuck around with stupid shit that doesn't make any sense. And it's just filler. You know what I mean? It's just filler. And that's how Street Fighter 6 felt. To be honest, much like NBA, probably not playing it for much more reason, than, basketball and that type of thing. You know what I mean? Like you're there to play the game, not run around the streets and all that shit. You know what I mean? So the fighting still looks good in Street Fighter. However, Mortal Kombat looks like a fucking movie, and it's incredibly impressive in terms of like the graphic fidelity and just the sound and all that shit. Very cinematic. What do you think?
Oh, I dug it.
I mean, it's a different vibe than Street Fighter. I mean,
Yeah, I mean all the fatalities and brutalities they showed were.
I mean, I'm not like a fan of like gore, that type of shit. I could definitely watch it and get into it if I'm playing the game and all that. I'm not going to say it's their best. I've seen some in previous iterations of their games. It's been even crazier. Some of those fatalities have been super impressive. There were some good ones, but some of them where it's like, yeah, that's not very creative. It's like, yeah, could have done a little bit better with that. Whatever. But I think just the most impressive aspect of this, and this game in particular, is just they're really leaning into the realistic look. You know what I mean, I can't even define the style that Street Fighter is. I don't even know what the fuck that is. It
Cartoony.
Like
I mean, if you put the two,
realistic cartoony.
I mean, the size of Ryu's head versus his body is just.
And then you
has
put
no
your
neck.
character next to him, and you're just like, what are these proportions? Like these don't make any sense. Yeah.
Especially when you're building your character and you're just like, this makes no sense.
I mean, you know, doing Cammy and Chun-Li some justice is all you really need to worry about, you know. And they did that, so it is what it is. But yeah, I mean, that trailer came out. Definitely recommend checking that out if you're into Mortal Kombat, or at the very least you played it when you were younger. I think it's kind of like a callback to their older style, just with a new look. I'm not gonna say new look, it's just an enhanced look. They've kind of always stayed true to this more realistic look. So yeah, it definitely super sexy. This wasn't out when pre-orders went up for the game, but you know, now you can get a better idea. Has some gameplay actually in front of your eyes.
What was it like PlayStation 1 when Mortal Kombat first came out? They just looked like pictures plastered on the, like, with the background.
I mean,
Just
Mortal
doing
Kombat
moves.
came out on like
Sega.
like Super
The
Nintendo.
Sega? No, but it was like on PlayStation.
Sega.
Super Nintendo.
Was it?
Fuck, I forget.
That's the first time I played it.
I know it was on Sega. And
Yeah, it was on Super Nintendo too.
Yeah.
But
fuck, I don't know.
Oh, did I have Mortal Kombat Super Nintendo? I know I had Street Fighter, but it just
Had
looked
so many.
different.
I know my personal experience with Mortal Kombat growing up was Sega Genesis, so I know that it was there. All the way up to, I think, Mortal Kombat 3, if I'm not mistaken. It's been so fucking long, bro.
But I mean, you take it back to the you know, the realistic. You know, it was just basically looked like character pictures. You know?
They were still
Side-scrolling on-
actual fighters. There's videos online where you could see people like, you know, Johnny Cage, and Sub-Zero or Scorpion. I think it was Scorpion. They had like their real nasty, blurry video of them doing the poses. And I mean, really, it's the same thing with like Clay Fighter. You know, that's like the old game where they used actual clay figures and they positioned them in the same way that, you know, Mortal Kombat did it, and they made a fighting game out of clay figures. Which, I mean, by today's standards, would probably be actually a nice little fun side project for somebody, you know.
that'd be
Probably
interesting, yeah.
pretty easy to get that done if you're into that type of stuff, which, I mean, you know, I kind of am. I'm sure you can get probably like a template for a basic fighting game and then just overlay your realistic stop motion shit over it. So,
Yeah.
I like it. I'm not into fighting games. I was shocked that you got Street Fighter. Was it like your brother fucking told you to get it or some shit?
No. I was just I had Street Fighter, I think 4 or 5. I had Street Fighter 5 on my old Xbox. So I was like, oh, I'll just get this one.
Pick your poison. If you like more realistic shit, MK1 looking pretty good. Check out that trailer. Next one on here is a stupid ass announcement of the Transformer crossover for Fortnite. Fucking wow! Like, I really, really wanted to see Optimus Prime 6.5 feet tall and shit. You know, like that's exactly what I was thinking about. Super stupid, but you know, what else are you gonna do? Of course, they got movies coming out. You know, they still got games coming out and all this shit. So.
I wonder if he transforms into a truck though.
I don't know. I was thinking about that. I was like, it would be an RC car because he's so fucking. He got shrunk so far. He'd be a fucking RC
He'd
car.
be an RC car.
Yeah.
Like maybe he's an actual
Go-kart.
mount, so you can actually, you could hop into him and like it's like, you know, you're playing duos. Your partner turns into your vehicle and you can just hop into him and drive off and shit.
He kicks you out.
Somebody shoots a car and he dies.
You're just gonna have people shooting cars the entire time during that
basically.
game.
Where is he? Where is he?
Where's the fucking Optimus Prime? He's in a bush. Optimus Prime doing the fucking dab and shit in the bush.
Oh God, doing the
This is
gritty.
The world we live in. Next on here, Sonic Superstars announced. Look fucking hard as fuck. I was like, damn,
The
bro.
video was pretty
Yeah,
good.
If you're into the old school, like, damn, like that's. I mean, can't ask for any more than that. Like, that fucking 1-to-1 carryover from original type gameplay, just looking super good. So, I think your diehards are the people that stop playing Sonic because they pulled away from that type of 2D type, you know, side scroller gameplay. They might actually be interested in this one. So if you haven't played it in a while, keep an eye out for that. I forget when that one comes out. Probably later in the year, to be honest. It looked pretty damn complete. But basically, take your mid '90s Sonic game, make it look like a 2023, level graphic game, and you got yourself a new Sonic. So it looks like you could have all the characters too, like Knuckles, Tails, Sonic, and probably Shadow in there too at some point and stuff like that. So pretty good, not too bad. And I was actually like, oh, okay, all right, all right, I'm down. So we'll see. There's like we had talked and spoken about in previous episodes, is kind of a diehard fandom for Sonic, which is kind of fucking weird, but whatever. Next one on here was Alan Wake 2 gameplay trailer reveal. Could have swore I saw some of this gameplay already, but they played it through again, and I mean, I don't know how you guys are about the narrative driven, thriller type games.
I get bored.
Yeah,
I can't keep my attention for that long.
Doesn't hold my interest.
You can't stop a movie halfway and come back a week later to finish it out. You know what I mean? Like, you need to sit there and finish the movie for it to hit right. And it's kind of how these games play, is you can't really take a break. You know what I mean? Like, especially if you're it's I have no time to really game throughout the week. So when I game, it's the 1 to 3 hours on the stream. And it's coming back a week later to pick up where I left off. I think I posted that meme to you guys in Instagram chat, where it's they need that mode where it gives you a rough breakdown of everything that you already know, so that you remember. Because I'm a fucking boomer and I forget 2 hours after I stop playing a game and shit.
My dementia kicks in.
Yeah, it's creeping in here.
What was I doing?
So I mean, Alan Wake 2 is one of those thriller games. You don't want to stay up on the narrative of what's going on, the names of people, just the action that's going on. You know what I mean? So if you're into those types of games, I know there's tons, and it streams really well. You have some fun with it. It looked really good in terms of the actual game itself, super sexy. So
for it being a horror game, survivor horror game, I feel like when you come back to it, it's gonna pop you back in. You're gonna be all settled in, and then a jump scare or something. Your first scene,
I don't play this anymore.
Right away.
I'm done.
You're I forgot about that.
One thing I'm sure you guys were excited about was that Twisted Metal clip. I'm sure that shit was probably it's damn, bro. When I was a kid, this is exactly what I was hoping would happen one day and shit.
I told you it was gonna be the greatest thing.
That's fucking bad. That was bad, dude. The mask looked bad once you got really up close. The motherfucker's all fat and shit. He's supposed to be yoked.
It's a real life wrestler.
Is it?
Yeah, it's Samoa Joe.
Damn, fucking, I don't care. I don't give a shit. Fuck that. You know what I mean? This was supposed to be a serial killer. You're supposed to get that a truly uneasy vibe around this guy. You didn't get too much backstory.
The guy drives an ice cream truck.
But he looks like a fucking murderer, you know what I mean? It's this guy just looked like some fat dude in a mask and shit. I don't know. And the lines were really shitty. I know what's his name? Fucking Captain America, what's his name?
Anthony Mackie.
I know Mackie's doing his best, but I don't.
This is a streaming platform movie,
Peacock,
right?
Wasn't it?
Is it Peacock?
Peacock
Or Paramount?
Paramount or something?
I feel like it's Paramount. Paramount fucks everything up.
It's wherever Halo is. That's what it is.
Yeah, it's Paramount then. Don't get me all started again on this Halo thing.
I mean, this is gonna be bad. This is gonna be unwatchable. I'm gonna watch it out of just fascination, morbid fascination.
I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah, so
You got to do it for
Yeah.
it's like the Flamin' Hot Cheeto movie and shit.
Oh
You gotta
God,
do it
Jesus
for the
Christ,
vine and shit.
that sucked.
Yeah, I heard some shit talking about it. I still haven't watched it.
You still haven't seen it?
No.
I saw it before you.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Well, I mean, because I already know the fucking stories.
I know, but you actually had to watch this adaptation now, and I'm the one that had to sit through it and watch it because I thought we were just gonna go over it, and then you were like, "No,
I'll watch it."
I'm like, God damn it!
I'll watch it. You're a hate watcher. Who gets a fucking shit?
Jesus Christ.
So yeah, I mean, I'll give it a shot. I'll give it a watch. But it was I was more so stoked about the concept that somebody actually noticed that story, and whatever. But I digress. This Twisted Metal looks like absolute dog shit. Head on over to our Twitter to check the trailer out, or go to YouTube and just type in Twisted Metal and watch the most recent upload. It is horrendous, pretty bad. Path of Exile 2 gameplay trailer reveal. Really bad timing, PoE.
Yeah.
really bad timing. Fucking Diablo 4 is a thing right now. And I'm not sure if they knew this, but it's kind of a big deal. And it is definitely overshadowing the PoE 2 announcement. I don't even think I saw the gameplay from it. Path of Exile 2, for anybody who doesn't know, is basically just an alternative to a Diablo, ARPG game, dungeon crawler type of experience, you know what I mean? So, I mean, actually, if you're going to release this thing right on top of Diablo 4, it's just not going to get the attention that you'd expect. So,
Yeah. Or
pretty
it just
sad.
better be insanely good.
I mean, PoE is definitely held. I think people will be pretty stoked about PoE 2. It has its diehard fan base and people who grind and stream and make content for it and stuff. So this is just another extension, right, of 5 years of content for them to make. So I think it'll stick around for sure. Path of Exile, it's done pretty well. And from what I hear on how it plays, it's appeased people in some areas that Diablo has kind of let them down in the past.
Oh, for sure.
With Diablo, I mean, we can sneak it in here. We don't have any bullet points about it, but we did have that fuckery with first I think they were both streamers, but the first one was like, he was like one of the first to surpass 100 level, or level 100, to have his account or his character in hardcore mode get basically deleted from existence because he had a network hiccup, right? And then just
and
yesterday,
like the second guy had like
78 hours or something like that.
and he died in the the home screen.
Oh my god. Yeah. So I mean, this was something that they kind of reassured people wouldn't be an issue, and is starting to prove itself to be an issue. So
It's an issue.
yeah, it's a bit of an issue.
Just imagine the rage on that guy.
Pretty livid.
It was live,
I'm
wasn't
sure.
it? Wasn't it a stream?
Yeah, I need to watch that
Yeah,
clip
he
actually.
was pissed.
I did see it, but most of the clips I watch online, I do in muted, just because I blare my fucking ear off if I'm not prepared. So I just fucking I mute all my clips. Yeah, bummer, dude. Fucking bummer, bro. Like, holy shit, I feel that. And it's one of those where you just gotta like take your hat off and just like have a moment of silence for the guy and shit. It's like there's nothing you can do, bro. Like, I don't think it saves the data that way. I don't think they can just bring back your character. You know what I mean? So
Kenny's brother would be just chucking a
Oh,
controller
dude.
at the wall.
Oh,
no,
he
but
would
Ricky would fucking like walk through a wall and shit if that happened.
Yeah.
He'd chuck his monitor.
Yeah. His monitor would be out the fucking door. His fucking
No. What
his
was the,
keyboard would be out the window. His
Yeah,
fucking-
that was it. It was everything had to be in a different direction.
Yeah.
like on the golf course, he'd throw a golf club towards the green and then throw his hat like backwards and then throw his fucking like bag over by the golf cart. It's like, bro, now you gotta walk all over the place to pick up your shit.
At least be consistent with it.
Yeah, what the fuck? You make it easier on yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
That he would lose his shit. It would be probably the funniest thing to ever be like recorded and put on the internet, but he would lose his fucking shit. But yeah, PoE 2, it's coming out. I didn't get a release date on that, but you fans out there are gonna be pretty stoked, so enjoy. Yeah, it is what it is. Next one on here, Witcher Season 3 trailer. Fucking rip, dude. I've watched Witcher Season 1 and 2 a couple times. And I like it, to be honest. Like, I like the show. I think it's watchable for sure.
I think I only saw season 1.
And Cavill does like a good job as that character. You can tell like he wants that character to be seen as badass, so he like makes sure that that character is seen as
Well,
badass.
that's why he was all pissed off at season 2, because like it wasn't exactly how like Witcher would be in the games.
Well, they're
Like,
making a very clear directional change to favor what's her name? Whatever. The young girl.
yeah.
In that story, they want to switch over to focusing on that character, and Geralt would have been kind of pulled to the back. He would have been like a secondary character, and I don't think that's him fighting for screen time. I think that's him just being like, no, dude, like this is like a story that you should respect, and like, not because you got an in now you can just start changing things, and that's what people fucking hate. And I don't understand why they keep doing that. And it's like, they give you a taste of exactly what you want, and then when they got you hooked, and they know you'll come back and keep paying for tickets or give your eyes as views, then they just start taking liberties with it. And by the time that you realize that like the property is completely contorted and different and just not what you originally wanted, you know what I mean? So I think that's kind of where he's at, and he just wanted to cut ties and dip before it got too thick. And I think at the same time, it was actually written in the contract that this was going to be the case anyways. That there was a chance that he would leave after season 2 or 3. You know what I mean? Like, so this isn't like out of the blue. Like he was mad. He had an out and he took it because the out was already there. You know what I mean? So, it sucks. I would actually really appreciate that show to keep going on, getting better. I think his swordplay is dope. He's fucking huge and, you know, all studly and shit. You know, he rocks that part really well. He shows respect to that lore, and that's kind of what you want. Especially if you're going to be marketing these fucking games and books, and they're just going to be going crazy with Witcher in the next, like, decade, dude. They've already announced it. They've already said it. You know what I mean? They have, like, 3 games in development, and, like, they're not even saying whether or not it's going to be a reboot or if it's going to be another Witcher, like a Witcher 4, right? So they're real like sketchy about it. So I don't know. Maybe he smells something or sees something that we don't, and he's just dipping to go to his Warhammer 40K universe, which next on the list here, Warhammer 40K Space Marine 2 co-op reveal. Fucking hard as fuck, bruh.
Yeah.
That game looks so fucking sick. God damn it. Like that's okay. So Warhammer, I mean, Lucas, you probably have like very little experience with Warhammer, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I've showed you like trailers and how the vibe that universe is very dark, gothic.
Yeah, I got the story from everything that you had shown me, so
Yeah, creepy.
kind of caught up, but just never played it.
It's this weird, gross universe that's in just perpetual war and different sects and factions just at it. You know what I mean? So you have games like, you know, I think it's Vermintide. That's nothing like the characters you'd expect. And then you have, what was that new one? Darktide that came out. Those characters look nothing like you'd expect. But Space Marine, I mean, Space Marines are a particular character in that world. They're the big suit dudes. This is the game that I've wanted, where it focuses on the Space Marines because they're fucking dope and OP. Could have used a first person, but third person, especially when it looks this good, is like just as good to me. You know what I mean? You look powerful. The waves of enemies look overwhelming. The scenery looks gorgeous, and the fact that there's co-op, kind of a fucking must buy for me in particular and shit. I don't know. What do you guys think? You're gonna get that?
Yeah.
Yeah, most likely.
Yeah, that one's
good.
like, damn, yeah.
Yeah, no, it looks good.
Maybe a Gears of War vibe going on. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of got that. And you're not gonna be jumping too much. I mean, they do jumps. I mean, they have that ability. It's just they're so heavy looking. You know what I mean? Like you're a fucking tank with legs and shit. So gonna be sick. Super dope. Highly recommend anybody and everybody to check out that trailer. All those trailers. The first Space Marine 2 trailer was like hard as fuck, bro. Where those 3 fucking jump out of the plane, they land, then just start decimating that wave of like bug aliens.
Yeah.
Chops that dude in half and shit. Like, just so epic. So, Warhammer 40K, anybody, if you like kind of scoff at it, there's an entire like universe of other content that's built around that world. And I thoroughly recommend that you like go and check it out because it's so built and lived in that it's kind of a fucking, it's going to be a huge inspiration for films, television, games, and books for like the next probably 30 years. You know what I mean? So especially with Cavill being involved with like all of it now. So definitely check that one out. Like I said, there's plenty more. The Summer Game Fest, I just skipped over all the other bullshit. There was definitely some other juicy shit in there, but just simply don't got the time. So we're going to move on to the Xbox Game Showcase and Starfield Direct. So I think, Kenny, we're going to give you the Xbox and Starfield, right? I think we're going to let you kind of go down this list a little bit. Nothing too big.
Nothing too big.
Too crazy, I guess.
So Xbox had their showcase. They had 27 games that they showed off. I think one of the big things is that 21 of them are going to be on Game Pass.
That was huge, yeah.
PC Game
Yeah.
Pass.
To also kind of comment on that quality, out of those games, I have 6 on this list to talk about. So, take that with a grain of salt. You have
Right.
21 games on Game Pass and shit.
So, but Starfield also like did a direct. Some of the big names that got dropped was the first one was Fable right off the bat.
Oh,
That trailer was really cool. Like I haven't played Fable probably since the third one. The last one came out.
my chick and her
Which was
sister are so fucking stoked for that game. It's like disgusting, bro.
Like Fable, like I loved Fable. Like what you could do with it back in the day.
I played the first one and like halfway through, and it kind of just felt like a timepiece. You know what I mean? Like it felt like I didn't get this whole weird like meta twist to it. It very much had like a meta twist, right? Like wasn't he like interacting? Like wasn't the character interacting with the writer or the drawer or something like that? Like
Not that I'm aware of.
in the trailer, like it showed a gigantic person.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
like, it's like,
Like, it was like a
what are you talking about?
Did you not watch this? Or
I mean,
No, I did.
I suppose my sister-in-law said that, in the second game, they took more of a kind of zany twist of that, where it being like, you're kind of living within a fairy tale, like a fable, rather than it kind of just being a reference to you making your own like story. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I haven't played them in fucking forever, but I mean, it should look
Yeah,
pretty hard.
Like I said, it's been a long time for me since I played. I think the last one came out on like the 360 when it first launched.
Yeah.
But moving on, there was South of Midnight, which was another big game coming out, as well as Clockwork Revolution. That was kind of like a steampunky like vibe to it. Your like the decisions you make will like change the future, like the way you do in the past. It looks like.
I'm just
Looks
getting
pretty
sick of these
interesting.
games saying that but not doing it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it feels
We'll
like
see
you're
if
doing
it actually
You're not.
happens. I think another big one for you is going to be the Microsoft Flight Simulator.
I mean, that Dune expansion, bug. The fuck was
Like-
that all about?
Like,
I mean,
there's crazy things that you,
they went hard for that DLC.
Yeah.
They like that, like they had like rigs set up for it and like all this
Yeah.
like
I'm
shit. It's like,
God
damn,
damn.
what the fuck? They're just little like dragonfly ships that fly around. Would be kind of cool, but I mean, shit, man, that's like
they're,
180
showing, like,
gigabytes.
everything, like gliders and
helicopters?
Oh, I think I looked at
helicopters.
I looked at the Dune expansion specific trailer where it was like the group of guys and they're like,
Wait, what are you talking about?
it was for flight sim. There's a Dune expansion.
Really?
Yeah, where you
there-
can fly
there-
in the
there-
dragonfly.
There was an actual like big video of
That's the one I watched. Yeah.
another sim, and you could like be like a rescuer, like
Yeah, you have tasks now.
yeah, you can a delivery person, like it's crazy, like
Yeah, might have
the
to.
video. You're gonna have to watch it again.
I think we canceled our Game Pass though because it's been fucking dick for the last 6 months.
Yeah.
Switched it for PS Plus. I guess we'll see. What's up? I don't know. I have to check.
Another one is Sea of Thieves: The Legend of Monkey Island. So cross gameplay
Only
right
crossover, yeah.
Yeah.
They had no control over that and no say in it whatsoever.
Yeah.
The people
I
behind
think-
Monkey Island. That should be noted that this was completely Microsoft and see it and Rare being like,
Yeah.
whatever. They struck a deal and then they just kind of did their own thing with it.
there. Exactly.
So
I
there
mean,
is
like,
no direct involvement from.
I've
like, the
never been a
Monkey
big
Island.
Sea of Thieves fan, but I know there are a lot of people that still play it.
Oh, it's fun. It's definitely a fun experience.
It definitely was.
You could definitely get away with this shit. If you want to make the game about fucking with people, that game's got infinite possibilities and shit.
Yeah, I mean, like I've seen like some of your streams as well as like just other people just dicking around the whole time. Like it looks like it's a good time.
Yeah, if you can be funny on mic, that game is hilarious and
Not-
shit.
not
And you get
my
like
cup of tea.
bullhorn out and you're like saying funny shit to other ships and shit.
Yeah. I think another big surprise and probably one of the bigger games to come out is Star Wars Outlaws. I know we're gonna talk about this for a minute.
Yeah, we're
So-
gonna talk about that in the Ubisoft forward, so just gonna leave that there and shit.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that.
Another couple indie games came out. So one looked really interesting was 33 Immortals. Basically, you can do 33 player co-op like on a level, and just like hunt mobs
33.
and stuff.
Damn.
Pretty interesting that you can, with a like an indie game like that, you could pack
Yeah.
that many people.
It's really just how it can handle it, you know, how well the
Right.
game's optimized
Exactly.
and handle all the different types of rigs and shit that are, you know, playing the game at once.
And then you got couple remastered games from Persona, so Persona 3 and Persona 5. If you're a weeboo of anime games, like, cool, go play.
I mean,
go play the game.
like
Go play.
it has its fan base. It's definitely not like
Yeah.
you know a shit game.
It's a
I
niche
get it.
fan base for
It's-
sure.
It's a big niche. Yeah, I'm talking shit as somebody who just doesn't like those games. I'm not talking
Yeah.
shit on the game itself or the people
Then
behind it. Right?
yeah. Then Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty. So
Boo. Boo.
they had what's his
See
face,
how that one
Keanu
comes out.
Reeves come out and try to hype the game up.
Did he come out again?
Yeah.
No, you're beautiful. The Idris Alba DLC or some shit, isn't it? And Idris in this?
I don't know.
I think Idris Alba is like
Okay.
is the character that you play, or is one of the characters or something that they added to it, I mean, which is whatever you'd expect it. You know what I mean? But really, the only DLC that I want, the expansion that I want, is their promise expansion, where they deliver on all their fucking promises of verticality and this
Yeah.
massive city that's thriving with not NPCs that walk 2 blocks and like turn around and come back, and then like you look in the distance and you see cars driving in circles and shit, just to give the illusion that there's like shit going around. It's such a fucking hollow and fake experience that people are like just pussyfooting around. It's not what they promise. It's not GTA, it's not Red Dead, it's not fucking Wildlands, it's not any, it's this fucking fake open world with decent gunplay and pretty decent like acting and shit. All in all, I don't know. It pisses me off that they're even talking about charging for anything. You know what I mean? Like, in my eyes, they got another 5 updates, patches to get through before they can start talking about charging people again for their fucking broken bullshit. I'm rambling. I'm going on, Jen. It is whatever. Fuck you, Cyberpunk. Dump 70 hours in that fucking goddamn dog shit dumpster fire.
Some way, somehow, I knew I'd trigger you.
Whatever. I already said it. My clips have made it into
Yeah.
like gag reels and shit. Like, I know that was my clips. There's like 2 of them and shit. Because the game's that fucking broken. And I don't know. Whatever. Proceed.
It's gonna be a great game.
Yeah.
It'd be awesome.
So
Game of the year.
so moving on
Yeah.
to I guess another big thing for Xbox was that they are launching their Black Series S with a 1 terabyte storage. So normally
Oh,
the
I
1
see it.
terabyte storage only goes in the Series X. So now in
Can't
the
you
Series
switch
S
that like yourself or like do something to where you can expand on that?
I mean, yeah, but it's like another $300 for the hard
Is
drive.
it?
Yeah, because it's like a exclusive hard
A
drive
proprietary?
for Xbox.
Is it
Yeah.
really?
So I mean, this is pretty big, especially when the console is only $350.
For the Black Series?
Yeah, and it comes out. When is it?
I mean, if you're going to be cheap with gaming, you really should pay for the extra graphic fidelity. You know what I mean? Like, you're buying a
Yeah.
console, you're taking the cheap route, just don't go cheap. You know what I mean? Like, don't get the
Right.
fucking, like, of course, you're going to have to get the most storage. Not even for anything other than the fact that games are huge and you just
Oh
need
yeah, I was
that
about
space.
to say like literally with the 1 terabyte, that's still only like 4 games.
Yeah, you're not even talking about like performance by that point. You're just talking about convenience and how fucking
Yeah.
annoying it is to only be able to have like 2 games on your system and you have to install them every time. It's so fucking bullshit.
So after the Xbox, obviously Bethesda came out. One of the first games they launched for a video was Avowed, which is basically like your Morrowind style Elder Scrolls game. Was never my cup of tea back in the day, but it looks good anyways. Oh, I forgot to mention another game, Senua's Saga Hellblade 2. That That was another big game that Microsoft or Xbox.
Oh, this game. Oh, I'm thinking of a completely different game, actually. I've had many opportunities to play this game. I've chosen not to every single time. All right, yeah, whatever. Continue.
Moving on.
All right, but the biggest game that I think everyone was waiting for was Starfield. Looks beautiful. Looks really good. Like, I didn't realize that the actual combat in the game. I literally thought it was just going to be another. God damn it! No Man's Sky. Just like looks like realistic instead of cartoony, right?
It looked pretty fun. Yeah, it looked okay. Like, it looked immersive. It looked thick in content. You know, like it looked like lived in.
Yeah.
But I mean,
like I said, it looks exactly just like No Man's Sky. Like, you do the exact same thing to me.
At least No Man's Sky, you can land anywhere on that planet. You know what I mean? This is not going to be that case. And, you know, given that when you land on a planet of No Man's Sky, it's a lot of repetitiveness. It's a lot of the same things just enveloping this orb of play area, and then things kind of thrown on it. This one definitely feels more like, there's...
a direction.
Yeah, we were talking about this, right? And I was talking to some fucking guy on Twitter and shit, where I think we've gone past the point where we could talk about these types of games in this general sense of open world. And you know, with Sega recently, they're trying to introduce this open zone concept, you know, and then everybody's saying, oh, it's just an open world. And I think that's kind of the point, right? Where it's like you have your true open worlds like Red Dead, like, you know, fucking even Halo Infinite, Grand Theft Auto, Far Cry, so on and so forth. True open world. I guess people would probably even put that in like the sandbox category. And then you have like this open zone, right, where it's like Destiny, Warframe, Marvel Avengers, looks like Starfield, probably even Outlaws to a certain extent, where you're given liberty to you know, traverse this open area. However, it is fairly linear in the sense that there's an entry point via a loading screen and an exit point via a loading screen. You know, even referencing this concept to that person on Twitter, where it was like, it's like, yeah, it's the illusion of an open world. However, there's still loading screens, and if you have to walk up to a fucking door or a gate or whatever, a hole in the fucking ground, and it triggers a loading screen, a visible loading screen where you're then removed from one instance and placed into another, in my opinion, at the very least, my opinion, that is not a fucking true open world. It just isn't. It's the illusion of an open world. You can, I guess, in the sense where those were originally named open world games, there wasn't too much more than that. We've come a long way since that. So given this general brushstroke of, you know, this is an open world and this is an open world, you know, it's like Grand Theft Auto is the same as Destiny. It's like, that is, bro, like, those are not the same. You cannot categorize those as the same. So they need to be separated. And I like that open zone terminology concept where
I think that's a good,
if you have to queue up, if you have to go and fly to the fucking surface of a planet and like get out, and then there's a loading screen, and then you guys are free to move around, and then when the objective's done, you go back to your ship, and then it triggers another loading screen. It's not open world. This isn't. You know what I mean?
It's an open world instance.
Yeah, it's an illusion, a good one, and then it's something that should be appreciated and acknowledged. You know, that being able to manipulate your game to get more out of it, in a more reliable state, by doing things like that, is it's part of the game. You know what I mean? It's nothing to scoff at. However, I think people that get defensive over it and being like, no, it's an open world. It's like, it clearly fucking is not, man. Like, it isn't. Like, it's not. It's like, okay, you can call basic open world sandbox because you can kind of just free roam and there's no guiding. There's a mission, an objective. However, you can go do it whatever the fuck you want, you know? Maybe you can call that a sandbox, but I think we've grown past this point where they can be categorized as the same thing. So that was my deal. And I told him, I was like, I'm not going to fucking sit here. I was like, I had a baby in one hand, a fucking, like, you know, a goddamn baby pouch in the other, feeding him and shit, trying to look at this stupid ass text and trying to do all this shit. Like, I'm not gonna bother with this. I'm gonna sit here and fucking type all this bullshit out. If I talk about it, I'll talk about it on the show. So yeah, moving on. There's a couple other things though that we left out. City Skylines 2.
Yeah,
Stoked.
that's another sim.
Stoked. Personal stokage right there, because I'm all about those city builders, park builders. I don't know how you guys are. Do you mean what do you guys do with those?
I dabble every so often. Like I was playing like park builder like games,
Yeah, like your
like type games, like
fucking Jurassic Park Evolutions 2 and shit. Not bad actually. That game's actually pretty decent. Part
like
2
Planet,
is
Planet Coaster,
Planet
or,
Coaster,
like Planet Zoo, and shit like that.
I mean, you have Sim City, but you also have City Skylines, and then there's
Yeah.
Sims and stuff like that. Lucas, do you play those?
No, that doesn't hold any of my attention.
I don't know.
I have a very short attention span.
Yeah, I know. You have like boomer shit. You still have like that casual gamer mindset and shit, where it's like if it doesn't go pew pew, then it's not cool.
Yeah,
and shit.
it's boring, bro.
We gotta get you out of that,
Make a
bro. We
city.
gotta get you playing things like fucking like Papers, Please, fucking playing shit like fucking Sims, and
Papers, please.
fucking all the way over to like fighting games, and we gotta get you versatile and shit. Can't have that boomer mindset, bro. There's
Good luck.
A world of games out there. Can't limit yourself.
Yeah. I think the next big game that I think you're excited for the most is Payday 3.
Payday 3, yeah, we're gonna play some Payday 2 tonight.
Yep.
Then
So
the other one
any
that
of you
I was
don't know what Payday is basically like you're a very strategic like bank heist game.
a lot of people who watch like GTA RP would also be familiar with how they rob banks and stuff in that. That concept basically rips straight from Payday. You go in, you control the crowd, the tellers, you anticipate cameras and alarms, and you take the necessary precautions to try to give yourself as much time as possible so that you can successfully extract as much money as possible. And that's rinse and repeat. Different scenarios, different game modes, different maps, and you got your masks and you level up. You get better armor, you get better guns, you get skins, different masks, shit like that. Super fun, super popular back in the day. One of those rose to glory and kind of puttered out, and there was no word of whether or not there would ever be a Payday 3, and there was kind of hints and here and there, and then finally we get the big drop. So I mean, yeah, I'm personally stoked. It's also one of those games where like my chick and her sister also played because it's casual enough in that sense. You know what I mean? It's fun enough in a group environment where it's like failing's not a big deal because the point of the game is to keep doing it until you get the best. You're flawless. You get in, you get out, not an alarm goes off, not a cop shows up. Like that's the kind of the point. You know what I mean? To be as smooth as possible. Super stoked. The one that I was actually kind of like stoked about is the fact that Phasmophobia is coming to Xbox. I think all consoles, if I'm not mistaken, might be wrong. That's the one that might need some explaining. Is Phasmophobia is the first person simulator, ghost hunting simulator, and very much trying to be as realistic, air quote, as possible. Queue up in a 4-player lobby. You choose the equipment that you want to take in to spend the extra money on. You build up your money and then you can spend it on better and better equipment. Then you all queue up. You get dropped off at your location. Could be a house, could be a school, could be a fucking prison, whatever creepy enough as, 2-story house, single-story house. They're just varying locations. And you go in there and you use your equipment, each with their own set of, attributes and what they kind of focus on, and you do your best to determine exactly what ghost you're dealing with. And if you guess correctly, you get the most money. If you guess incorrectly, then you get some money for succeeding, but that's pretty much it. Then the fun part about it is just kind of the triggering of these ghosts and how you interact with them and how fucking crazy and scary it can get. Like,
Yeah.
it looks a little hokey. Like the ghosts definitely haven't been improved upon. They look kind of like stupid, but the setting that you're in, the way that it's delivered to you is pretty visceral. So it's a pretty fun experience, and I think people on console get a kick out of that. So
I mean, like out of nowhere, like a ghost will like be in your ear
yeah,
with like it'll be
Just whispering and shit.
Basically, kind of. It's like like it gets all
So my move was
Crazy.
run like a bitch and hide in the bathroom and cower.
Yeah.
So like naturally, I would always survive because I was being the bitch. But at one point they did like the update where ghosts could just go through walls and like come after you, and that's pretty much when I stopped playing the game because my method of succeeding had been squashed. I no longer had my hide in the corner and cry like a bitch technique, and I needed to like adhere to all these different types of ghosts because like you get out of eyesight, you be quiet, that type of thing, and they would go away. But now it's like if he's on you, then they can just like come at you. You know what I mean? So some changes, they might have gotten rid of it. I know there's a lot of it like changes to the game, just trying to like perfect it, adding more equipment, and it's the shit that you see on like ghost centers, like the what is it, EMF readers, the screech boxes or whatever, like
Yeah.
like the white noise boxes.
yeah, the white noise boxes, and they all work how they're supposed to work in real life. You know what I mean? So it's all like loud and just the sounds. It's all just a creepy experience. So you're very much living in that television show environment for a second. You're like shitting yourself. So in a drunk stream environment, probably one of the funniest ones that you can get into.
Yeah.
Especially if people are new about it and like not 100%, like they're not 100% sure if they want to play it. Like that's the perfect environment because those motherfuckers gonna scream like a little bitch, and that's hilarious. It's good. It's good content and shit. But you got the High on Life DLC for Knifey, High on Knife.
High on knife. Yeah.
We got some news later about Justin Roiland and their whole thing with recasting and all that, but we'll talk about that. And that was pretty much it. You definitely had a larger list than I had here. Took
And then,
some more value out of what I did.
Another one was like a DLC for Fallout 76.
Oh yeah, they're gonna have a
Road
Fallout
to Atlantic City.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm stoked.
Whoop-de-doo.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, the game has been fixed over time, but if you haven't seen Internet Historian's video on Fallout 76, it's probably one of the best just additions to the internet ever. It's just one of the best videos. Like, just it's funny. It's also super informative, and it's a fucking thrill ride because they took their customers for a fucking ride. Don't buy that watch for fuck's sake. Like, just remember the bag. Remember the fucking bag. Remember the rum.
Cheap ass fucking bag.
Remember everything that Bethesda has done in the past with their merchandise and pre-sales and shit, and just proceed cautiously because I guarantee you that watch is gonna feel like shit. It's gonna operate at like just half the capabilities of what your Apple Watch does, and any other smartwatch. It's just gonna be some novelty, bro. It's gonna be like fucking Lucas buying the goddamn night vision goggles for
Those are
Modern
dope.
Warfare twice, bro. He bought it twice.
Bro.
Two
They're
different
different.
versions.
Yeah, they're two different versions.
He thought the second one was gonna be better. It was the same. It just had a different logo on it.
That's hilarious.
Damn it, we couldn't even see the end of the cart barn with that. That fucking sucked. I mean, it would probably actually be better if you had bright, like a secondary, what's that light? The invisible light, fucking
Infrared?
stupid, yeah, infrared light. And if one of those lights, in your hand, you could probably shine and see everything in those rooms. You know what I mean? Because
And then I should just have a flashlight.
I mean, basically, yeah. Well, I mean, you're seeing in the dark, bro. They can't see that light. You know what I mean? You're shining all over the place. It's like what?
No, they just can't see
It's
the
like
light
ring
reflecting
cameras.
off your eyes and shit while you're wearing it.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was it for the Xbox Games Showcase and Starfield Direct. My personal opinion was Starfield was pretty dope for about 23 hours and shit until the Ubisoft Forward 2023 show.
Oh, was another one?
Yeah, there was
Another showcase?
Yeah, there's 5 other shows after this, but we're only going to
Jesus
talk about
Christ,
this Ubisoft Forward 2023. First and foremost on it, a lot of Assassin's Creed shit. They have the codename Jade. It's a mobile game. Takes place in like feudal Japan, or I'm not 100% versed on what story and timeline they chose for that one in particular, but I know that it's martial arts and like, samurai themed. Then you had Nexus VR, which, I mean, Nexus, it's a VR game. You have access to a number of different characters from the games in the past, and it's just kind of one of those novel VR experiences. And then you have Mirage, which in the previous episode I think we had said was a remake. I thought
Felt
it
like a
was,
remake.
but it's not. What
No.
they're doing is that they're like reverting to their original game styles, where it's going to be just kind of how the original ones were, the ones that we like. But it also looks super dated for some reason. I don't know why that game felt like a remake, but
It looked like the first one, just reskinned.
yeah. So I mean, that's kind of how they're going now. I think that's just the route they're taking with those games. So we will see. I'm kind of burnt out on Assassin's Creed. I'm just over it. I don't really give a shit anymore. I don't know. And then they had the Crew Motorfest. I did a fucking typo here. This is Motor Feast. Good one. The Crew Motorfest coming September 14th. That
Need
is
a bunch of
basically, it's the Crew's version of like Forza Horizons. It's almost identical in that sense. You know what I mean? Like, that's just no other way to explain it. Gigantic open map, areas to challenge other players, areas to do challenges and races. It's just the Crew version of that. It is. I mean, I think that's the one where you can. It's really kind of arcadey. You know what I mean? Jumping off cliffs and smashing through this and that. So I mean, if you're into that style, it might be better off than like a Forza Horizons. So
Sounds like Fast and Furious.
basically, I mean, even crazier than that, to be honest. Fucking
In
like Hot
space.
Wheels and shit. Then you had some Skull and Bones closed beta info coming August 25th. It might have something, to offer, but as of right now, like, people are pretty skeptical in that game. So we're gonna have to see on how that one ends up. And then we had Kenny's favorite, Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora.
Hell yeah.
First person, open world, look like survival game for the most part. I'm not sure if you're gonna have to like drink and eat and all that shit, but it definitely had that vibe. You know what I mean? It was definitely story driven. I forget what acronym company is the bad guy in this game. If it's the same ones from the movies, there's two different ones. So I don't know, but it looked good. It's made by Massive Entertainment, if I'm not mistaken. Same people that did Division, right?
Yep.
That is the company of the Division, yeah.
But it looked like it was okay. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, we've talked some shit on Avatar. We talked some shit on James Cameron. Fucking deserved most of the time for him. He did make an appearance after the gameplay trailer, and I pretty much just like muted my shit.
Yeah.
I was like, whatever.
I just skipped that entire part.
It looks like a solid game. Massive Entertainment, I kind of trust, mainly because they also announced Star Wars Outlaws. Now, this is the game where it's like, I was super excited for Starfield, where it's like, yeah, finally a game like that. I'll be totally down. Anything will do. And then they go and announce Star Wars Outlaws like the next day, and it's like, well, now I don't give two flying fucks about Starfield at all. Like, I don't care. Like, I really don't. Obviously, like, a game I'd be interested in to still like get and play and all that stuff. But if I was to choose between the two, like, obviously I'm going to choose Outlaws, because the shit looked dope. It still looked like there's going to be some type of linear, space travel. I highly doubt you're going to be able to land anywhere on the planet or, travel freely in any direction in the universe. I doubt it's going to be like that. However, we saw an enclosed, like, dungeon type of environment, right? Not dungeon like literal, but in the sense of like gaming terms, an underground or interior, there's enemies around, you're sneaking around, interacting. It feels like a mission to you leaving that just out like a window, not a window, but like an opening. You hop on your speeder and you're off. You're in the desert. Characters come in, you're fighting. It's very like Mad Max, that type of gameplay. And then you start seeing other speeders kind of just driving by, people living their lives and shit on this planet. You go into a town, there's interiors for you to go into and interact with characters that kind of trigger cinematics, RPG style gameplay, which then triggers a game, a scenario in the game where you then progress in the story, where you book it, you get to your ship, you take off, you fly out of, orbit, you get into space, there's rubble, there's, meteors and shit floating around. asteroids, I should say. There's things for you to zip around and move around, and there's TIE fighters that come in, and there's ships that come in. It's very immersive. You get a clear shot, and then you're in hyperdrive. It's very much Star Wars. You pull out a hyperdrive, you're in orbit of another planet, and then you continue. So it still feels like it's on rails. However, that feeling, that entire scenario that I just laid out, is something that I think like every Star Wars fan has wanted in a game since like day one, right? Like that feeling of actually being a character in this universe rather than just kind of experiencing somebody's narrative, that they're laying out in front of you, like a Jedi Survivor, that type of game. You know what I mean? Like, this feels legit. Like, this feels like holy fuck, like holy shit. Like, this is the Star Wars game. Like, oh my god, like holy shit, they made a Red Dead Star Wars. Like, oh my god, So this is like game of the year material for me. A lot of people bitching about like Mary Sue female protagonists as per usual, all that shit that they're complaining about. I didn't really care. It didn't feel like it was hokey being crammed down my throat. It just felt like a character in this world who has like mad 70s hair, 80s hair and shit. And then, I know that it takes place between Empire and Jedi. I think I saw Frozen Han, right? He's Carbonite Han. I think he's in the trailer. I think you see like the side profile.
He's in the trailer.
Some type of involvement with the Skywalker saga, so we'll see that. But all in all, just that entire scenario that I laid out, just what that trailer did, and that's what they were doing. They were showing you that. They weren't showing you the map. They weren't showing you the gameplay. I mean, obviously they were. They weren't showing you the characters. They weren't showing you the dialogue. They were showing you like the experience. That's why it was so diverse in what you were doing, because they were really trying to show you, it was like, okay, we finally got this experience pretty much down where you're going to feel like you're in this universe. You know what I mean? I sent they did something the day before where they released like a trailer, or they released like a poster or something, made an announcement, and then the next day they were going to have the show where they showed this trailer. When they had made their initial announcement, I sent it to Garrett, and he's like, yeah, I heard that they're going to show some gameplay the next day. And then when they started to show it, I showed him I texted him, and he's like, yeah, what I saw in that trailer looked like fucking amazing. So, he didn't say fucking, he said like, fucking darn or something like that. But, it's like, it's that game that we've been waiting for, this is the one that Star Wars fans should be hyped for sure. That's the one. Keep your eyes on that. I mean, if you want to get into Starfield, for sure, understandable. You got a droid that follows you around. It looks pretty realistic. Looks good. Looks like there's some lived-in areas, and you get some narrative out of it. But we're talking about Bethesda here. You know what I mean? So tread carefully, ladies and gentlemen. And that is pretty much it for the Ubisoft Forward 2023. We had some other developer shows, right?
Yeah.
I don't even remember the names.
Way
of like
too many.
It's like, who the fuck is this?
Way too many, and they just started repeating games, and I was just like, all right, this is done.
They do overlap, yeah. Like, he mentioned Outlaws, and then we still had Outlaws for Ubisoft. And that was it, right? They made an announcement at one show, and then they showed like the trailer at like the next or whatever.
Yeah, Ubisoft held on to the gameplay.
Yeah. Like, fuck off. Like, fuck off with all that. Like, why are you making it so confusing? Like, god damn it. Just stop it with all this.
Well, it was like Spider-Man, dude. Like, we saw Spider-Man for Sony.
Yeah.
And then Summer Game Fest comes up, and it's like Spider-Man 2 again. And it's like...
And, well, the only thing that was different there, I don't even think they showed the trailer. They just made the announcement for the release date. Like, they held on to a crumb for that show,
And it's like, why?
Because Sony wants to be the big dick in the room at all times.
Sony wants to be Sony.
Yeah, Sony being Sony. So that's it. We're not going to talk about any more of the shows. We got a couple, like, handful of small little stories to get over here. But anything else you guys want to talk about that you found super interesting in any of the games or shows released?
Ubisoft did do the X Defiant show.
Oh yeah.
So free to play first person shooter.
That's going open beta, isn't it?
Yeah, open beta for a little bit, and then it's going to go to, I think, a summer release, or probably like July, August.
I'm down. It looked good.
It did look good. It looked faster paced,
Yeah.
just first person shooter, just run through.
It's just every person that's like my age and streams or plays games is like all starting to admit they're like, I just can't react like that fast anymore. You know what I mean? Like I just physically cannot play those games like I used to, and like I get shit on just because like literally I cannot react fast enough. Some people, I mean, it's like LeBron. You know what I mean? Some people just stretch out their prime and shit. But in reality, we all hit that wall where we don't have as much fun playing those types of fast-paced
Yeah, well,
first
you get
person
older,
precise
your
shooters.
what do they call those? Those synapses don't connect so
Yeah.
quick in
You know,
science.
and then there's all the fucking liquors and weed and shit. That
Yeah,
fucking-
I'm
fucking
not sitting here sober playing a game. I'm sitting
Yeah.
here kind of with a little buzz going on, so I'm a little slow.
I'm sure once I get through it, I'll be like, oh yeah, that one game, that one DLC or that one blah blah blah. But
Yeah.
A lot of video games.
yeah, there's a lot. Check out the Twitter. Kind of scroll through. We retweeted all the juicy ones. I mean, at one point, these shows are going off that it's like I'm retweeting once every like 2 minutes, and it's like, I don't want to bog people down. It's like fucking Lucas restarting his stream like 9 times at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Thanks for
Getting all
those
the
it,
notifications for that.
Oh, you're
Oh,
welcome, bro.
man.
I didn't know it was
Wow.
sending notifications.
That was the
Yeah,
thing on
on
Twitch
something.
that people had to figure out was that they were losing subscribers or they were losing followers because the people were getting aggravated that they were constantly being notified of this person going live.
It didn't
I'm
tell
like-
me any of that. It didn't say notifications going out.
Twitter didn't do it. I mean, it's emails for me. It's not like
Yeah, it's
text.
emails.
God damn it, my
Also,
bad.
I had like 10 emails at
I was like, what
I
the
was
fuck
trying
is
to-
this fool doing? Having
1:30
a
in the
fucking
morning.
seizure in the middle of the night and shit? Like, what?
I was
is
trying
he
to
doing,
fix shit. All right. Leave me
I mean,
alone.
you don't have an abundance of followers right now, so you're not pissing
Yeah,
off anybody but us.
no.
But fuck you, homie.
I did not know that. My apology.
I mean, I guess if we're gonna talk about streaming, like, are we gonna talk about?
We are going to talk about XQC and
XQC.
all that shit, yeah.
Yeah.
First on here, though, miscellaneous news. We're going to kind of get through this quick. I did see it, The Flash, but Andy Muschietti reported to be directing the new Batman, the Brave and the Bold film under James Gunn. He was the director for The Flash. You guys haven't seen it yet, right? Not bad. It's not great. It's not. James Gunn, a little PR fluff on his part, being like it's the greatest comic book movie I've ever seen. It did some justice to Keaton. This is gonna be a little spoilerish. Maybe less than that, right? What the fuck happened, Kenny? Did you fall again, bro?
No, I did my
Why do you keep
elbow on my
fucking
desk.
falling on the show every fucking goddamn week?
We were
We go
fine
through
in
this-
the last episode.
Every time. But like the concept of it is very clean. It's a nice story to be like told. It's just Ezra in that part just still doesn't feel like Flash. And it kind of does lend to it where it's like, this actually probably isn't the Flash that you grew up remembering, and you see people like online trying to be like, well, the Flash is supposed to do this and supposed to be this. And like literally the point of the story is that there are so many Flashes and they're all so different, and all these characters, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, like there's different versions of them that all have different stories. And it's not as linear as like Marvel's approach to time travel. It's more of like, and it's an analogy in the film, like a bowl of spaghetti, where certain noodles overlap one another and they interconnect at different points. They're never truly like lined up, they're all different. And he can like hop between them to a certain extent, kinda. So that does pose a different issue, an interesting approach to time travel, and how they explain it and all this and all that. And I don't want to go too much on that, but The Flash is watchable. It's still in that same like headspace of the real shitty, cheap looking CGI, the overdone, blown out colors and CGI of the DCEU. However, I would probably consider it to be like my, the best DCEU air quote film featuring those characters, even though I don't like him. The one thing that I told you guys was like, I'm thoroughly impressed on how fast it took for me to forget the fact that there weren't two people standing there acting. Because, I mean, you see in the trailer, he's always beside another one of himself, a long-haired version of himself. It's part of the film, you know what I mean? It's a buddy-buddy type thing. those two characters are beside one another the entire film, and it took me like a minute to forget the fact that that is the same person acting at two different times being superimposed over one another. It legit felt like there were two Ezra Millers, like they got twins and they were acting alongside one another. Like if even better than that, you know? It felt really, 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 really solid in that sense. So I give it props. I give it props to the sense that it pulled that off, which is probably one of the hardest things like in film, you know? You watch Back to the Future 2 and you watch all this shit, you know, and it's pretty hokey. It's hard to get the characters to line up eye connection and to line up, you know, hand movements to look natural with one another and body movements and stuff like that. So I recommend it. However, if Batman Brave and the Bold looks anything like this fucking movie, like I'm gonna be so fucking sad, bro. Like I do not want anything in this new DCU to look anything like The Flash, like period. I don't want the costumes to look like that. I don't want the blown out colors to look like that. I don't want the CGI to look like that anymore, like at all. I don't want characters to look like they're moving too fast for their actual movement. You know what I mean? Like, or their body movements are too slow. And he had made a comment.
It was made like that for a reason.
He made a comment this morning or yesterday where he was like, no, you guys misunderstand. If it looks that way, it was intentional. It's like bullshit, bro. Like
CGI looks like shit intentionally.
Like really, the one that you need to look at, the one only CGI that you need to look at to sum up what I mean is the scene where in the trailer, the Batwing, they jump out, the two Flashes are running, and Supergirl's running, and they come to a stop, and like you see like the dust kick up. That whole sequence right there, everything about it, from top to bottom, movement, color, speed, like graphic sharpness, you know, everything about it looked fucking bad. Like there's nothing about that at all that I want. And like I take for granted how subtle Marvel handles their fantastical aspect of the storytelling. You know what I mean? Like still feels kind of real. You know what I mean? Like Iron Man's suit does kind of feel like it's got some fucking rockets on it and he's zooming around. Like the weight of the character, the speed that the character's moving, you know, everything about it looks more natural. I don't know what the fuck it is over at DC. WB in general, I guess, maybe. They're just CGI department's just not up to snuff, but it looked fucking bad. Like super, super bad. So I'm genuinely concerned. Hopefully the Batman film doesn't require too much bullshit like that, but this dude is going to be helming one of the main films for the upcoming DCU. The last director for that garbage is going to be one of the I'm flabbergasted. So I don't know. We'll see. You guys should still watch the film, you know, when a better copy comes out. What up? Next one on here, BioWare offloading Star Wars The Old Republic to Broadsword Online Games. I don't know if you guys don't play this, do you?
No.
This is definitely one of those. It's like turn-based, clicky. It's, you know, it's very disjointed gameplay. You know what I mean? Like you choose a target, you choose your attack, you let them kind of duke it out, and then based on your stats and weapons and stuff, then you win the battle. I don't mind
turn-based games.
I mean, it's not your I mean, it's not like Pokemon turn-based, you know. It's still, you're in an open environment. It's just when you're attacking characters, you're not really at control of what you're shooting and how many rounds you're shooting. It's just, I don't know, whatever. People who've played it know what I mean. However, I mean, there's a lot more lore involved in that, you know, a lot of like saber love in that, you know, there's a whole lot of, you know, crystals and things if you want to change the color of your saber and customize different hilts and outfits, and it's pretty immersive in that sense. However, it being offloaded to a second company is kind of concerning. Luckily for me, I never spent any money on it. It is one of those games, kind of like Destiny, where free to play only takes you so far. Then you gotta kind of drop some cash to make it worth it. So I never did that, but people that have might be on, you know, a little concerned right now. We will see. Broadsword Online Games sounds familiar, but I have no idea what they have ever gotten into. So Still a game that is playable to this day. Active servers and all that, so you might want to check it out. I guess we could talk a little bit about the Twitch fuckery. I don't even have any notes written, but this can be kind of by memory. What do we got? We got
Twitch screwing over everybody,
Twitch going back
magically changing their TOS.
Yeah, so we had 70-30 cut switching to 50-50 cut. You have the most recently, anybody that wants to quit the affiliate or partner program is required to pay them now. Okay, I mean, then we move on, and then you have them being like, okay, so now we're going to restrict like kind of ads you got going on, how you do your ads, how much money you make from the ads, like what kind of ads you can use, how big they can be, that type of shit. The internet exploded. They were fucking livid. I mean, it was like if you wanted a logo on your given this is our like paid advertisements, so there are some stipulations as to how this is affected. It's not just everybody, but like let's say I wanted on Lucas's stream, right? Lucas is on Twitch and he wants to have a Nerd Chatter logo pop up to tell people to go to the Nerd Chatter podcast and shit. That logo couldn't take up any more than 3% of the screen space. And then you can no longer have like stream banners, like they couldn't be across the screen. And what has always been around, you can't just run a commercial in the middle of your own show. You can't do that. They have their own ad reels and all that stuff that you can trigger through Twitch, but you couldn't have your own fucking DoorDash commercial that you play and like walk away to go take a shit. You know what I mean? You can't do that. So people got livid, and then they backpedaled on that pretty immediately, and it was more of like, yeah, it was a bad idea, so we're just going to get rid of it in general. This is not going to be a thing, so sorry. Yeah, you got rid of it. The concerning part is the fact that they thought about it in the first place, and they try to sneak it past and get cute with it. But then we just had some recent news. Is there any other fuckery? Some other fuckery popped up with them there.
Like their
Multi-stream.
Plus, Prime Plus or whatever it is, streaming. Like
a lot of restrictions
Partner Plus.
On you got the Partner Plus, which had its own benefits, but you also had things. A lot of talk about they're tightening the reins. You know what I mean? They're like, we've just been letting people make money and not getting our cut. So now we need to control everything so we can get a cut of everything. You know what I mean? Like these people will come after your donations. They will come after your donations and tips at some point. They already tried it by introducing the novel bits program. But I think at one point they're going to be like, if you take any type of tips or donations, we want to cut. There's a shakedown. They're doing a shakedown. But just recently, and I guess we'll lump this in here, yesterday I think it was, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday, XQC announced that he left Twitch. People don't know. A lot of people actually don't know who XQC is, but XQC used to be XQCOW, XQC Overwatch. He was a professional Overwatch player who mained Winston. He was a Winston main. And he had a little drama because he's got a little mouth on him, a little toxic. He said some shit and got kicked off the league, and then turned to streaming, where he talks at a mile a minute with a French Canadian accent, and you can barely understand what he says, but he's high energy, entertaining, can be funny, and he's got a massive audience, and he holds that audience. And typical between 60 and like 120,000 viewers at a time. He decided he was going to move over to Kick for a little paycheck. I think it was like somewhere around $100 million. They gave him $100 million roughly to move over to Kick, which Kick is a one of the dramas that popped up last year with Twitch was their crackdown on slot machine websites and slot machine streaming from stake.com. Twitch kind of targeted Stake specifically because they were making the most money, and then allowed other betting, sports betting, horses, that type of shit, poker, still good, not slot machines, particularly from this company. So that company, since they're a gambling website and they have a fuck ton of money, they bankrolled their own platform and created kick.com, which at the time was pretty shoddy, but over time has definitely been updated to be a little more familiar, if you will. Let's just say that. Let's just say Keck W's in the chat, and they carry over. You know what I mean? So a lot of similarities between the two platforms. However, Kick is a wild west right now. We've been streaming pretty consistently on YouTube, and I think I'm going to switch over to Kick, mainly because take advantage of this Wild West time frame and be able to listen to some fucking music again, dude. Anybody that has streamed recently, like has gotten into streaming the last like 4 or 5 years, music has never really been a thing that you're able to do. Back in the day, it was like part of it. You were like your own little DJ. You built your own little playlist of your favorite songs, and you rocked out and shit. You know what I mean? Like you just sat there. It was a vibe. You sat there listening to your favorite music, people talking about their music and listening with you and commenting and sending you recommendations, and it was just part of the show. And when Twitch took that away for understandable reasons, it changed the whole feeling and just kind of like just the climate of the website. So if we can get away with it for a little bit over on Kick, we'll switch over to that. Probably not going to upload any of the videos or anything to YouTube unless there's some system of it being super easy that doesn't require me to record it. But for the time being, I think we're just going to switch over to Kick because we registered Nerd Chatter the first half hour that Kick was even up. I got my personal name, a backup name, Nerd Chatter. So we've been day one, hour one on Kick. Might as well make some use out of the name and start streaming over there. We might even switch off the credentials. So if Lucas wants to stream, or if Kenny wants to stream, or even Garrett or whatever, we can all just hop into that and stream for like an hour, half hour here and there and shit. Have some fun with it. Kind of a big one. That's the XQC leaving Twitch is huge. He was like top 2 or 3 streamers on the platform. If they lose Kai Sintat or whatever his name is, it is 100% game over. I made the comment on Twitter that it's over already. That there's just really no way of coming back. That they've just kind of lost the trust from their viewers, and now they've allowed people to become willing to move to a different platform, and that's dangerous. Like they've lost the power that they think they have. So Twitch on their fuckery, on their bullshit.
I don't know. When I heard XQC getting the money he was getting, I thought it was like another Saudi backed.
I mean, you don't really know where the money on stake's coming from, to be honest. I mean,
Right.
it could be Saudi, it could be Russian. I mean, a lot of ties to Russian, to be honest. But, hey, fuck it, get that bag, homie.
Get that money, dog.
Like, fuck it, bro. Like, if you don't get the bag, you get the bag or not. You're still gonna get fucked over. Fuck it. This world is brutal, bro. Just get that bag.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's fuck to see, man. I mean, 2011, 2012. You remember me sitting at work on Twitch.
What are you doing?
And our boss had me having to write out in fucking like crayon and shit what streaming is. It's like, okay, so a person has a camera and they film themselves and their screen playing a video game, and then people can watch them and chat to the person streaming and other people in chat. It's this fun little community. What do you mean? Oh my god. I have to explain this literally to everybody. Like when people ask you like, oh, what do you do? Like I'm not even fucking bothering shit, to now fucking
Millions of dollars.
Everybody streams and everybody can stream and every console has it built in and all that shit. You know what I mean? So it's a different climate. It's a different environment. It was a true like renaissance in those early Twitch days. Like, if you were to have experienced Twitch with me when I was sitting in the pro shop on like the phone, and like it was such a pure and like wholesome experience being on Twitch. Like it was like you were finally had a place. People made fun of you for playing video games, never took you seriously and shit, and it was hard to like meet people and like just share commonalities with one another. Twitch was the place where gamers, nerds, typical people that were like, cast out in society as being stupid or just like lazy, the Cheeto eating, Mountain Dew chugging like nerds and shit, neckbeards, to then being just people chilling, sitting, having a good time, just playing music, showing videos and doing their thing, to now like everybody, and it's all just focused around money. It's all around subs and viewers and just numbers, $100 million deal, $50 million deal, blah 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 blah. Like, it's just fucking gross. Like, all of it's just gross now. It's no longer what it was. And like Twitch it's just dead. Like, this is just, you're waiting for it to just get the fuck out of the way. So Kick might be it, because they had the money to bankroll it. So like I said, we'll be switching over there and doing some streams on that platform. So check it out. Kick.com/nerd chatter. My personal one is kick.com/McFly. What up? And then Lucas, yours is kick.com/Marauders with a Z.
Yeah.
And then Kenny's is like a 1998 AOL instant messenger handle and shit. I mean, I don't even know if you're ever going to stream. I mean, if you do, you're more than welcome to hop on the Nerd Chatter account if you want. Just not your fucking AOL email and shit, whatever the fuck it is.
I could hear the door opening and closing every time he walks in.
I can't even do that. I can't even do it. But yeah, the next one was Reddit fuckery, kind of doing the same shit. They're trying to lock down shit, charge for shit. People aren't having it.
Was it APIs?
Yeah, APIs. It would cost like somebody who did like a standard API that everybody takes advantage of would be like, it would cost me $21 million a year.
Yeah, I think it was Apollo was like, fuck this, we're done.
They're like, no. So, and then
how much?
Then the CEO was like, oh, it'll blow over. I'm like, are you fucking dumb? Like, are you
just
fucking
lost
dumb?
a lot of people.
Like, you are an idiot. Like, there is no coming back from trying to charge somebody randomly $21 million or whatever the fuck it is. Like, you're insane. So, damn, Reddit might die too. Twitch and Reddit down in the same fucking, like, I don't know, half decade. That's be crazy. Fucking, what a time to be alive. That one's an ongoing developing process right now, so keep an eye on that. Some subreddits just shut down and definitely just not even caring. They're just like, we'll come back whenever the shit changes. Originally it was like 48 hours, then there's extensions and stuff, and then now, this morning I believe I read an article where Reddit started contacting moderators from these shut down subreddits and telling them that if they don't open them back up, that they would delete them.
Yeah, open or else.
Yeah, so Reddit has gone full dark side. They are no longer the warm and fuzzy place. We're just seeing all these companies just, it's deplorable. I can't even know if I can describe it. It's just disgusting.
Money's ruining everything.
It's like, this is why you're hated. You know what I mean? Like, this is what you do when you want to be despised by the world. These companies just never fail. It's like they got a fucking rule book that they just like hand out to one another, and they all just live by it to be fucking horrible companies that people hate. Reddit might be fucked. The way that they're posturing right now is that they're not going to back down, and then this is just going to be the end of it, because Reddit is literally its only value is the people that are willing to use it. Once people stop using it, it has no more value, and it's fucked. So we shall see. Next one on here, last one actually. All of Justin Roiland's characters in Rick and Morty are currently being recast.
Kill it. Let it die.
I don't think they can. I don't think they can. They're contractually obligated to keep going.
Just stop. It's done.
We got, and yeah, that's an iffy one, So you have the company being like, okay, so all the charges were dropped, and it's okay now. He's like, fuck you people, blah blah. You ruined my reputation. And they had the option to stick with him or recast. And even after the most recent revelations, they chose to recast. Damn, discuss. What do you think? You're the fucking Rick and Morty. You still got your skateboard on your wall?
Rick and Morty.
I do have a skateboard on the wall.
Yeah,
and it's not going to be the same.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's not going to be the same knowing that like he's not really drunk.
I mean, you don't know. That might be an actual requirement. Like the guy doesn't
really
drink.
hope
He's
it
like,
is.
I don't want to drink. He's like, no, you're gonna fucking drink.
I love method acting.
Yeah, that is method acting. I method act every time I fucking come on the show too. And shit.
See?
Yeah, so I don't know. Like, it's just it's gonna be hard. Like hearing the voice and knowing that it's somebody else doing it, and then just always thinking about that. Like always thinking about how this person lives up to the other voice and like yada yada yada. I don't know. I'm done with Rick and Morty. I've been done for a while. I watched Rick and Morty in one season bursts, like 6 months after the season finale and shit. So I don't have too much connection. I think a lot of people were kind of turned off to it, period, because of all the drama. But it's kind of a bummer. But like I said, having watched the last 2 seasons, the writing was definitely starting to kind of go south. It wasn't as funny and random and wacky as previous seasons, you know.
Yeah, if you watch it like in succession of like seasons,
Yeah,
you could really see it.
I don't like it when the characters are self-aware of the repetitiveness of their content. When the characters themselves have the eye roll of, oh, okay, we're doing this again, or oh, this is the usual, and you get like the gradual. It's like, oh, Morty is becoming, less energetic, less,
He's like, oh yeah, we're going on another adventure. Yeah.
we're doing this, blah, 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 and he's just kind of in the
That's what I'm
motions.
saying.
Like, oh, it's boring.
It's dying.
Yeah, it's boring. I don't like that. I mean, that's a directorial choice. That's a writing choice. That's the route they wanted to go with it. I just don't like it when they do that. South Park did that a little bit too at one point. I forget what season. Just before they went off, when the parents were having when Stan Marsh's parents were having like the divorce tease type shit about like 5 or 6 seasons ago. It became more self-aware where they're trying to like we need to change big things, to make it fresh. Like, I don't like that. It's like, if you have to do that and you're going to chase away viewers, whatever, just cut it. You know what I mean? Just get rid of it. I don't want them to do that with that too, but it kind of feels like they've already done it with Rick and Morty. Like, after the 4th season, it's like, I probably should have just called it quits, but
Yep.
money talks. And that is pretty much it for this week's headlines. Pretty short. Like I said, we had some more on there, but we're already running pretty fucking late. So, we got Comic-Con coming up. Well, it'll be the last week of July. You got Garrett coming on for that. Not sure. Hopefully we can get all of us on that show. It's going to be probably about as long as this one. Maybe a little shorter. We'll see what's up. But, some bigger shows hopefully next week is a little bit low key and keep it down in terms of time, but I have no idea. That was pretty much just like out of nowhere. All of a sudden got hit with a bombardment of stories and trailers and announcements and release dates and all this crazy shit. So we'll try to cut it down to keep it nice and smooth, but that was definitely a longer show, boys. Definitely a longer show. And as per usual, got my free games and heavily discounted games throughout the week. This one just over here on Epic Game Store until July 22nd. You got Guacamelee Super Turbo Championship Edition, as well as Guacamelee 2. They're action platformer games, pretty polished. Some people might find them familiar. They've been around for a good bit, kind of popular in that scene, but free, as always, a good price. Go ahead and check that out over on Epic Game Store until June 22nd. And that is it for today's show, ladies and gentlemen. You can find us at Nerd Chatter Show on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all that good shit. Just at Nerd Chatter Show. You can find the Nerd Chatter Podcast anywhere you can find podcasts, including Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Audible, Spotify, and basically anywhere else you can find podcasts. And make sure to subscribe, follow while you're there with whatever method they have. It'd be much appreciated. All of our episodes are uploaded to the YouTube channel, where you can typically check out some weekly live streams. We'll see what's going on. Might be moving over to Kick. We're going to be streaming on Kick this afternoon, probably starting around 8 p.m. maybe or so. Kenny, what time?
Yeah, that works for me.
Yeah, do a couple hours, and then when you leave, if Lucas is available, hop on some PS5 and shit, fuck around. What do you think?
Yeah, I should be available. I should be.
Fucking low, fucking cap, low.
I gotta go do shit. I'll be at Disneyland.
No, I'm blacked out at Disneyland. Fuck you.
He's on my blackout dates and shit.
And got a Dodger game today, so see how that goes. Plan on leaving early though.
So we'll see. We're gonna probably be on Kick though. So kick.com/nerd chatter. Go ahead and check that out. We'll be live around 8 p.m. tonight Pacific time. Next show, like I said, we're on bi-weekly schedule. Should be July 1st, if I'm not mistaken. And then later in that month, we're going to have the huge Comic-Con show, I'm sure. We'll have Garrett here to join us. So, you guys, appreciate you being here, as always.
Thanks for having us.
Likewise, thanks.
And like I said, we'll be back July 1st for the next show. Apologize for the long one this week, ladies and gentlemen, but we are out of here. You guys take it easy. Later.
Later.
Later.